Coucou et puis hello and that's Marhaba habibetey. So today I wanted to do what did I want to do? Get ready with me with the palette that's behind me, which is the ColourPop Disney collection, Disney designer collection. So I don't know if you could, I mean I put in the screenshot, but this is the whole collection that launched. Ooh, it's been a year, over a year I want to say. So I know that like at the Disney store you could buy the dolls and they had different pieces like clothing items, pins, mugs I want to say, and they came up with a makeup collection as well. I realized in editing how much I say the word so I'm attempting to catch myself, so if there's awkward random pauses that are longer than usual, it's because I can hear myself trying to say and stopping myself. Anyways, so I have been wanting to play with this palette on camera. I realized that my last two get ready with me's were over 30 minutes because I was doing my base, which is a lot of the same. So the products that you see me put on my face for my base remain the same today. For blush, I used MAC's Fun Ending, which some of you will remember the vlog. They had this whole collection, do you guys remember? It was like a romance themed collection and I got my makeup done at counter. Do you remember we could go do that? And yeah, I'll link that vlog below. I'll go dig it up and I'll link it below. And then as a highlight, I used Rose Quartz from Becca, which is this beautiful, beautiful. Let me actually do close-ups of both. The MAC blush looks a lot lighter in the pan. It just darkens on the skin. I'm a huge fan of both of them. That looks focused, maybe. So that's the highlighter and then the blush. And then my lips, which I would do off camera anyways, I did pick the Cinderella lipstick from the collection, which is this really pretty pink color. It's close to MAC's Please Me, I want to say. It's a little pinker, it's a little less blue toned and more like rose toned, I want to describe it as. I love MAC's Please Me, so this was a really nice surprise. They smell like MAC lipsticks, and I forgot what that was like because I've been wearing liquid lipstick for so long that it was a nice treat. And then as a lip liner underneath, just so that it doesn't, it's not even doesn't bleed. I haven't found these lipsticks bleed, but it's more I like a crisp line, and then I like if I'm eating or drinking or whatever that something lasts a little longer. So I used East End Snob from Rimmel, which is an amazing lip pencil that I use basically under any single pink lipstick that I wear. So yeah, that's what's on my face already. I've been talking really, really fast. Okay, and I am going to dig into this palette as an eye look. I don't think I've used this palette ever. It does not look like I've actually ever used it. I bought like the Naked palette I've used a couple times, but this one I knew I wanted to buy as like more of a collector's item. It's makeup and I should use it, I get that, but I don't know. I'm trying to film this video in an attempt to use it more often. And let me know if you guys want a full swatch video of all the lipsticks, and there's a quad of the 4 like Super Shock shadows. What else did I want to tell you? Yeah, so let me know if you guys want that. Otherwise I'm gonna jump into it and I'll start playing as I talk to you a little bit. Okay, as a base, because I realized I don't actually have too many MAC paint pots or like pencils or whatever that are pink, so we're gonna use this Chanel Rose Lame like potted sparkle cream shadow with my finger. Definitely not necessary to use anything this ritzy, but I'm gonna because I have it and it's the only kind of pink hued base that I've got. What was I gonna say? Oh, I was fully hoping they came out with this collection, which they're calling it Disney Designer, but it's basically a Disney Princess collection. And then they were hinting at a Villains collection, which they did launch, and I actually am a fan of villains in general. Like I love the Halloween party. I usually love the Villains themed merch, and I was thinking that that would be the collection I would buy, and it ended up being that while the products were lovely, and they're ColourPop products, which are always at a decent price point and a good bang for your buck, I found that the artwork for the villain stuff was not my jam, and the products themselves are not my color scheme. So I'm glad I picked this one up. I didn't end up picking the villains one up, however. Alrighty, let me show you the inside of this palette. I'll put it right side up. There's not a mirror. ColourPop palettes, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe typically have mirrors. So that's the color scheme. We're gonna work with the pinks up here in it. And yeah, I don't typically think of myself as a pink colored eye makeup lover, and I feel like I've done my fair share of pink looks on this channel. So I'm starting with this beigey color chip, the top one, just all over the eyelid as a secondary base, because why not? Oh, what else was I gonna say? Oh, so I'm wearing this shirt, which is the shirt we got for doing the challenge at Princess half marathon weekend. So the challenge when you do the 10K on Saturday and the half on Sunday. And I'm wearing this pink lipstick, which is a Cinderella lipstick, because I'm just about, when I finish, I've got about 40 minutes. I'm about to jump on a Zoom call with my awesome friend, Kristen from Running in Makeup, who, if you haven't heard me talk about yet, where have you been? But I'll link her channel below. She's been doing a really cool series over the summer, like an interview series. And I'm not quite sure exactly what we're gonna talk about, but I'm sure there'll be Disney and running and I'm mainly super excited to get to chat with my buddy because I miss her. And I miss our race weekends, and I miss her hugs, which are the best, and her conversations, which are amazing, and just her like happy, awesome spirit and energy. So anyways, I thought that this was the weekend that we most recently got to hang out together, and Cinderella is her princess. So I thought, hey, it was fitting. So I am excited to do that. If her video has gone up before this one goes up, I will link it below. Regardless, I'm gonna come back to that word in a minute, but regardless, what I was gonna say is if it hasn't, subscribe so you won't miss it when it comes out. But regardless if it hasn't, I have a link for you. You should go subscribe to her channel because she is super awesome and super sweet. And definitely if Disney is your jam or running is your jam, you will love her. But she also does the occasional tutorial. She does work with ColourPop a lot, like their products. And yeah, I just highly, highly recommend. What are we gonna do? Oh, regardless, we're gonna come back to that word. I think I'm gonna take this color Grumpy in the crease. I heard today, and I haven't done my research to see if it's actually true or not, but I heard today that irregardless, which is not a word, is being added to the dictionary. Which I don't know how I feel about. I'm like, should we just not learn the proper words and use them? Or are we just giving up and being like, you know what, people have used it enough, we're tired of correcting them, just make it a real word, and then we don't have to deal with this anymore. I don't know. Anyways, if you have thoughts one way or the other, let me know. I also wanted to come on here and chat a little bit about, as I was working with Disney products, or Disney adjacent products, as I'm filming this, it's opening weekend for the DisneyWorld parks in Florida, and I have some thoughts. So I thought I would share them in this space and see where you guys are at with it and what your thoughts are. And I will tell you my main, somewhat selfish reason of having this conversation is because if you've known me long enough, you know my affinity for these parks and how much they mean to me and how often I go and all that jazz. And I think I'm finding myself at a bit of a crossroads on when I will find myself back at the parks. So full disclosure, I am signed up for Wine and Dine race weekend in November. I cannot foresee myself actually attending. However, I don't know. I'm telling myself I just don't have the emotional capacity to actually like think through that decision and figure out what I need to do one way or the other. At this point, there's just like, it's in terms of the priorities of what I have to do between now and November, it's not quite yet on my radar for like decision-making time. So I've given personally myself the timeline of 30 days out, because honestly, if I cancel now or I cancel 30 days out, I'm in the same spot, financially speaking, with what I'm eligible on a refund for with them. And so I'm telling myself I'm gonna wait until then to make a decision. So, sorry, I'm getting distracted by pretty sparkly things. What are we gonna put in the outside corner? I do the same, for those of you that are new here, I do the same kind of look every single time basically. I'll put like a base color and then something in the crease and then something in the outside V and then a little bit of glimmer on the inside. That's usually how it goes around here. I'm just trying to figure out what that outside V color is going to be. We're going to go with Triton right there. Anyways, so I'm not commenting one way or the other, and I also think that not a million things, but a bunch of things can change between now and then, even between how the race is being held, whether they're going to make it only for Americans. I am in Canada, by the way, for those of you that don't know. So I don't know. I just think so much can change between now and then. My timeline will be to make a decision 30 days out and to proceed from there. What today brought, though, and the reason I kind of wanted to have this conversation was we kind of got a glimpse of what the parks will probably look like for the next while. And it was interesting. I did not have the reaction to it. And so I kind of wanted to have a conversation with you guys, or any of you that are park goers, any of you that have been kind of keeping up with the news, to see what your thoughts were on things when you thought you may head back to the parks. Because whether or not regardless of whether or not I end up going to Wine and Dine, I will at some point want to go back to Disney. And Noelle and I have had these very honest conversations, which we go, we're not really sure when we'd want to go back to Disney. For your reference of like what my life looks like, because I've taken a specific approach to COVID and what have you. And we have worked under very limited, very safe procedures at work. So I have been going to work, but that's basically it. I go to work, I go to the grocery store, I get takeout. If I need to buy something, I'll do curbside pickup. And that's kind of my existence. So I have made those decisions for a whole lot of reasons, which we can discuss at a later date. But I mainly am just even wanting to start the conversation here, which is, what are your thoughts about how the openings have gone? What will make you feel safe to travel to the parks? Yeah, I'm just curious. And I guess I've given now this long ramble, and I've been attempting to put glitter with a flat brush, and I always do that, and then I want to put glitter on my finger instead. So I'm going to try to take this fairy godmother color, and I'm going to use my fingers. And yeah, so I kind of want your thoughts. My thoughts are, I think they've done a lot in terms of what they can do to keep people safe if the decision is to open the parks, right? Like, obviously the safest decision, like the lowest risk decision, is to keep the parks closed. But I get the economic argument. I get people's desire to need a break. Like, I get all that. So I'm not really necessarily having a conversation here about whether or not they should open. All I'm saying is that with them being open, I do think this is probably as safe as they can make it, except for the fact that I do not understand, for the life of me, why their performers aren't wearing masks. Not all their performers are wearing masks. So anyone in a costume, and I know they've stopped parades, and they're now cavalcades, and they're quicker and they're smaller and what have you. And everyone in a costume, I mean, at least that's a face covering because there's a costume there, but none of their characters are wearing masks. And I get that they're in a float or on a horse or what have you, but I think it would set a really cool example for all the kids if their favorite characters were wearing masks. I can almost get over the no masks on the characters because they are kind of elevated and pulled back, so maybe I can get behind it. But their street performers, like the dancers, aren't wearing masks, and that I don't understand for the life of me. It's very, very confusing to me. You guys, I don't love the outer corner. I don't feel like it's dark enough, so I'm gonna try the color Beast. This is where we end up with accidental smoky eyes because we just keep adding more and more and more, and then it's basically smoky eye. How many times have we been here for that kind of look? Anyways, so I think that would be the only thing that I would say potentially they could do. I also have not seen, like, I've seen sometimes when the crowds have looked a little bit much, so maybe there can be a little bit better crowd support in all the vlogs that I've watched. Maybe, especially in the mornings when people seem to be in full, like, raring, getting ready to go. So, I don't know. I think those are the things that could potentially be done with the park being open. I am not, so that's why I was a little bit conflicted, is I was scared about Florida being such an epicenter of the outbreak in the US, of the numbers going up and the timing of opening. So that made me a little bit nervous. Seeing the performance without masks made me a little bit nervous. Seeing some of the crowds made me nervous. I was expecting though to also feel happy and excited. I mean, I watched a bunch of the videos that they launched before they opened, and it was full of so much hope and like happy and the magic and all that. And what was really weird about the vlogs and the Instagram posts and all of that I followed over the weekend was, but I didn't get any of the magic. And I think part of it is because you go to a place like that to escape from reality, and there's no escaping from the fact that we're in a global pandemic. We just can't. We have to be careful, and we have to be thinking about it, and we have to be making conscious choices everywhere we turn, right? It's not work is stressful, so I'm gonna go to Disney and escape, or there's illness in the family, or whatever it is. You can't necessarily get a full escape from it. And I think I've heard a couple of vloggers that I follow who have done like really spectacular jobs of trying to show it to you and not be biased and give you everything, kind of said the same, is that the magic is a little bit lacking. So I mean, that is my opinion, and that is based on these videos that I've watched, and it's only been 1 or 2 days that these parks have been open. Epcot and Hollywood Studios at this point haven't opened yet. So I don't know, like I was expecting to watch these videos and feel like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing and magical, and this is gonna, sway how I currently feel about any upcoming trip. And honestly, it kind of made me say that I don't know that I'm ready to go back, like that it's worth it to go back yet. Does that make sense? I mean, you don't have to agree with me, but like, does what I'm saying make sense? What are we gonna do for brow bone, you guys? Maybe let's put a little bit of chip back on that brow bone. Anyways, so those are kind of my 2 cents. I think that brings up the second question, which is, what is it going to take for me to feel safe at a Disney park? And I don't quite know yet. Like, Noelle and I have talked about this a lot, and I mean, again, I have to get on a plane, an international flight, to go there and come back. And so I think at the beginning we both were saying, until there's a vaccine and or a treatment. And I'm pretty sure that's probably where I'm still at this point. I'm gonna try a little bit of liner to see how it goes. I'm still kind of the opinion that I don't know that I'll be ready to get on a plane until there's a vaccine and or treatment. They are starting to say, but the other thing, so the only reason I started thinking, well, maybe would I go back earlier, is because the other thing that they started saying recently is that there may not be a vaccine and or treatment. We may need to build up herd immunity. So at that point, it becomes not only about when would I go back to Disney, but if it's gonna take 2 to 6 years for us to build up that immunity, do I not travel for 2 to 6 years? Do I stay homebound and not travel? And for reference, I am on a plane, before lockdown, I was on a plane about once a month. So how do we find, and I think I had a really good conversation with a friend of mine. I'm not passing judgment on anybody who feels any which way, other than those who don't believe this is a thing and aren't taking any preventative measures. But I think I've been scared of having this conversation because I don't want to spark a whole political debate, but I want to talk to you guys about where you're at and your thoughts about it, because I think that's how we learn and we think about these things that need the importance that they want to think about. I know that sounds super ironic because I'm like playing with glitter, but that's where I'm at. So anyways, the friend of mine that I was talking to about this was like, whether it's a vaccine or it's herd immunity or whatever it is, this is going to be something that we are working with, that is part of our world for a while. And so how do we all come up with sustainable ways of living our life where we find our balance, where we find happiness, where we're safe and thoughtful all at the same time? So I don't know. I don't have an answer yet. I don't know if I will change my mind and feel like, I will go travel before a treatment arises, but I also don't know if they go, well, we don't have a treatment, build up immunity. I don't know when I'll feel comfortable getting away for travel. And so We've traded the word for so, I see. I'm just curious. Those are my thoughts at the time being, and I'm curious to hear where you guys are at and what your thoughts are about Disney and when you guys are gonna go back, or you think you're gonna go back. When you feel like you would want to go back and travel in general, if there's interesting pieces of research or data that's coming out of anywhere that you find interesting that would be worth a good read for any of us, please share that all down below, because again, I think that's how we learn and that's how we grow and that's how we have meaningful conversations that result in thoughtful actions and decisions as we, work as a compassionate global community, which we need now more than ever. It starts with conversation and education. So if you have any of that information, please leave it down below and let me know. And yeah, I feel like you guys, I like the way the look turned out. We're still putting mascara on. I like the way the look turned out. I will say that there is a reason I've basically only been playing with my Too Faced liquid shadows, which is, I remember every time I break out a palette, why it drives me crazy. I will spend like 20 minutes working on a quote unquote eye look. And it looks fine, but I'm like, does it look as jazzy as my glitter in a liquid eyeshadow pot? No, it does not. Would I prefer to spend 3 minutes and just have glitter on my eyes? Kind of, yeah. So, I don't know. You guys let me know if you have any easy, high impact eye makeup products that you've been loving that you recommend. Also, in seeing that palette, if there's other color combos you want me to play around with, I am also game. So let me know. I'm gonna finish putting on my mascara. I'm like trying to like stretch out the conversation so I can finish my mascara, but there's no need. Let me finish putting on my mascara. I'll be right back. So that's the finished look. Let me know what you guys think about the look, about all the things we rambled about. And yeah, let me do 3 points of positivity and then I will be back to you. So the first one is getting to sit and do this with you guys today. The second is getting to talk to my sweet friend Kristen shortly. And the third is a really great walk I had with my sister this morning. So I will talk to you guys later. Before I leave you, just always remember that life is just way too short to wear boring lipstick. Bye guys.